Assalamu alaikum, everyone. In this episode, we will learn about Prophet Lute, A.S. Prophet Ibrahim left Egypt, accompanied by his nephew Lute, who then went to the city of Sodom, which was on the western shore of the Dead Sea. This city was filled with evil. Its residents waylaid, robbed, and killed travelers. Another common evil among them was that men had sex with men instead of with women. This unnatural act later became known as sodomy, after the city of Sodom. It was practiced openly and unashamedly. It was at the height of these crimes and sins that Allah revealed to Prophet Lut that he should summon the people to give up their indecent behavior. But they were so deeply sunk in their immoral habits that they were deaf to Lut's preaching. Swamped in their unnatural desires, they refused to listen, even when Lut warned them of Allah's punishment. Instead, they threatened to drive him out of the city if he kept on preaching. Almighty Allah revealed, "The people of Lut belied the messengers when their brother Lut said to them, 'Will you not fear Allah and obey Him?' Verily, I am a trustworthy messenger to you. So fear Allah, keep your duty to Him, and obey me. No reward do I ask of you for it. My reward is only from the Lord of the Alamin. Go you in unto the males of the Alamin, and leave those whom Allah has created for you to be your wives? Nay, you are a trespassing people." They said, "If you cease not, O Lut, verily you will be one of those who are driven out." He said, "I am indeed of those who disapprove with severe anger and fury your action. My Lord, save me and my family from what they do." So we saved him and his family, all, except an old woman among those who remained behind. The doings of Lut's people saddened his heart. Their unwholesome reputation spread throughout the land while he struggled against them. As the years passed, he persisted in his mission, but to no avail. No one responded to his call and believed except for the members of his family, and even in his household, not all the members believed. Lut's wife, like Noah's wife, a disbeliever. Allah the Almighty declared, "Allah sets forth an example for those who disbelieve, the wife of Noah and the wife of Lut. They were under two of our righteous slaves, but they both betrayed their, so they benefited them not against Allah. And it was said, 'Enter the fire along with those who enter.' If home is the place of comfort and rest, then Lut found none, for he was tormented both inside and outside his home. His life was continuous torture, and he suffered greatly, but he remained patient and steadfast with his people. The years rolled by, and still not one believed in him. Instead, they belittled his message and mockingly challenged him. 'Bring Allah's torment upon us if you are one of the truthful.' Surah 29:29. Overwhelmed with despair, Lut prayed to Allah to grant him victory and destroy the corrupt. Therefore the angels left Ibrahim and headed for Sodom, the town of Lut. They reached the walls of the town in the afternoon. The first person who caught sight of them was Lut's daughter, who was sitting beside the river, filling her jug with water. When she lifted her face and saw them, she was stunned that there could be men of such magnificent beauty on earth. One of the three men asked her, "O maiden, is there a place to rest?" Remembering the character of her people, she replied, "Stay here and do not enter until I inform my father and return." Leaving her jug by the river, she swiftly ran home. "Oh, father," she cried, "you are wanted by young men at the town gate, and I have never before seen the like of their faces." Lut felt distressed as he quickly ran to his guests. He asked them where they came from and where they were going. They did not answer his questions. Instead, they asked if he could host them. He started talking with them and impressed upon them the subject of his people's nature. Lute was filled with turmoil. He wanted to convince his guests, without offending them, not to spend the night there. Yet at the same time, he wanted to extend to them the expected hospitality normally accorded to guests. In vain, he tried to make them understand the perilous situation. At last, therefore, he requested them to wait until the night fell, for then no one would see them. When darkness fell on the town, Lute escorted his guests to his home. No one was aware of their presence. However, as soon as Lute's wife saw them, she slipped out of the house quietly so that no one noticed her. Quickly, she ran to her people with the news, and it spread to all the inhabitants like wildfire. The people rushed towards Lute quickly and excitedly. Lute was surprised by their discovery of his guests, and he wondered who could have informed them. The matter became clear, however, when he could not find his wife anywhere, thus adding grief to his sorrow. When Lute saw the mob approaching his house, he shut the door, but they kept on banging on it. He pleaded with them to leave the visitors alone and fear Allah's punishment. He urged them to seek sexual fulfillment with their wives, for that is what Allah had made lawful. Lot's people waited until he had finished his short sermon, and then they roared with laughter. Blinded by passion, they broke down the door. Lute became very angry, but he stood powerless before these violent people. He was unable to prevent the abuse of his guests, but he firmly stood his ground and continued to plead with the mob. At that terrible moment, he wished he had the power to push them away from his guests. Seeing him in a state of helplessness and grief, the guests said, "Do not be anxious or frightened, Lute, for we are angels, and these people will not harm you." On hearing this, the mob was terrified and fled from Lot's house, hurling threats at him as they left. The angels warned Prophet Lute to leave his house before sunrise, taking with him all his family except his wife. Allah had decreed that the city of Sodom should perish. An earthquake rocked the town. It was as if a mighty power had lifted the entire city and flung it down in one jolt. A storm of stones rained on the city. Everyone and everything was destroyed, including Lute's wife. Allah the Almighty recounted this story, and tell them about the guests of Ibrahim. When they entered unto him and said, "Salam," Ibrahim said, "Indeed, we are afraid of you." They said, "Do not be afraid. We give you glad tidings of a boy possessing much knowledge and wisdom." Ibrahim said, "Do you give me glad tidings when old age has overtaken me?" "Of what then is your news?" They said, "We give you glad tidings in truth. So be not of the despairing." Ibrahim said, "And who despairs of the mercy of his Lord except those who are astray?" Ibrahim again said, "What then is the business on which you have come, O messengers?" The angel said, "We have been sent to a people who are mujrimeen, except the family of Lute. Them all we are surely going to save, except his wife, of whom we have decreed that she shall be of those who remain behind." Then, when the messengers came unto the family of Lot, he said, "Verily, you are people unknown to me." They said, "Nay, we have come to you with that which they have been doubting. And we have brought to you the truth, and certainly we tell the truth. Then travel in a part of the night with your family, and you go behind them in the rear, and let no one amongst you look back, but go on to where you are ordered. And we made known this decree to him, that the root of those sinners was to be cut off in the early morning. And the inhabitants of the city came rejoicing. Lute said, Verily, these are my guests, so shame me not, and fear Allah and disgrace me not. They said, Did we not forbid you to entertain any of the Alameen from us? Lute said, These are my daughters, if you must act. Verily, by your life, in their wild intoxication they were wandering blindly. So as-Sayha overtook them at the time of sunrise, and we turned upside down and rained down on them stones of baked clay. Surely, in this area signs for those who see, and verily, they are right on the high road. Surely, therein is indeed a sign for the believers. Surah 15, 51-77, Allah the Exalted also declared, So we saved him and his family, all, except an old woman among those who remained behind. Then afterward we destroyed the others, and we rained on them a rain. And how evil was the rain of those who had been warned. Verily, in this is indeed a sign, yet most of them are not believers. And verily, your Lord, He is indeed the Almighty, the most merciful. The book was closed on the people of Lute. Their towns and names have been erased from the face of the earth. Gone are they from memory. One book was closed of the books of corruption. Lute proceeded towards Ibrahim. He visited him, and when he recounted the story of his people, he was surprised to learn that Ibrahim already knew, and so Lute continued to invite people to Allah, as did Abraham, the patient one who turned to Allah repentantly, and the two held firm to their mission. If you found this story inspiring, subscribe for more journeys into the lives of Allah's messengers. May Allah guide us all to the truth.